Good evening, good evening. Oh, my. I want to thank you for joining us this evening. Oh, some of you may have been asking the question, said, Bible Patrolman, I have not seen you. Last month, we were not on the air, but we are back on the air. I want to ask, and I want to solicit your prayers. I want to solicit your prayers. The Bible says, no weapon that is formed against you shall prosper. And that is for the child of God. If the child of God is trying to do what God has asked them to do, there are going to be all kind of weapon, all kind of fiery darts that's going to come at you. And I want to tell you, my wife always says, don't talk about the enemy, don't give him no credit. But I want to tell you, there's some fiery darts that had been coming. But I want to thank God today that we are alive, that we are able to be on the air this year. Last month, it was a very rough time, and we were not able to be on. But I thank you. Some of you who knew our situation, some of you were praying. I was getting phone calls from all different angles, because I tell you, we were going through that valley, that rough valley, but God saw us through. Oh, I thank God. Probably one of these months, we're going to recap, and we're going to do a program based on last month, what some of the things that took place in last month. And so we did not get a chance to broadcast, and so you can get a feel of what. But today we are here, and we thank God. So I thank you again for joining the broadcast this evening. One of the things that I want to make sure that I give God all the praises and all the honor, because I should have not been here. And, because of the grace of God, we are still in the land of the living. And so this program is the testimony program. It is based on Revelation chapter 12 and verse 11. He says that they overcame him. Who is him? The enemy. They overcame Satan. They overcame the dragon. They overcame him by what? The blood of the Lamb. And not just that, but also by what? The word of their testimony. And so this is what this program is built on, is people sharing their testimony of what God has done for them. And today is no different. One of the things that I have realized in life, and some of you may have not experienced it yet, but if you probably are going to experience it sometime or the other. Not everyone is going to experience it, but I surely experience this. And you may ask, say, Pastor, Bible Patrolman, what are you talking about? If you are in the process of selling a house or buying a house, or have anything to do with real estate that you're involved, I would strongly encourage you to make sure you're not doing one of those things, sell it yourself, or you buying something without a realtor. Oh, 2 years now, going on 2 years now, I went into a project just off the cuff and not with a realtor. And I've learned my lesson. There's some things that I learned because I did not have a realtor that was working the case. But in the end, God still bless. And so reason why I'm sharing that with you, I think it was last year, while I was at my church, we were talking about selling a property. We were talking about selling a property that's belonged to the church. And while the church was discussing about selling this property that belongs to the church, one of the members suggests to me, Pastor, you need to talk to my daughter. You need to talk to my daughter because she is a realtor and she can help you. And I tell you, oh, that was one of the best move that we have ever made. And so I want to bring on today for none other than Miss Ashley McGregory. I want to bring her on today because she is a local realtor and she is a blessing. Oh my goodness. I want to say, Ashley, I want to thank you. I want to thank you for joining us here today. You can say greetings to the listening audience this evening. They are listening.
Yes, well, thank you for having me. Uh, well, as we get through, you'll learn a little more about me. But it's been a journey. So when you asked me to do this, I know it's out of my comfort zone, but with my new chapter in life, I knew it was something I needed to do. So it's an honor to be asked to be a part of this. So thank you.
No worries. Well, let's dive right into this. Ashley, as I said before, you are into real estate, and share with the audience, how long now have you been in real estate?
So just backstory or just real estate?
Backstory. You can hear.
Okay, so I never desired to be in this field, but
Mm,
we're not the chapter, like we're not the author of our book of life. So I've
mm,
paths with so many wonderful people in my life, and my former broker, we used to actually teach together at the local school here in town. And we were just out one day at the grocery store, and she dared me to take the course. And I was like, okay. And so I took the class, and before I knew it, I was done. And then I took the test that scares everyone. And I will be honest, I failed it the first time, and I failed it the second time. And I remember being in there the third time, and I said, look, I said, Lord, I'm not trying to tell you what to do. But if this is for me, you're going to take my hand. You're going to help me through this. And I remember, I never forget that day. That was the first time I ever felt, I don't know if you would say anxiety or not, but when I clicked my final answer and clicked submit, PASS came across the screen. I knocked everything over trying to get
oh,
out. I was so excited. I was like, "Woo! Oh my goodness!" And I remember walking out, and I called my husband. And he was like, "What?" I mean, because it just happened. And since then, that was back in 21, and since then, my life has been like that. Like, I'm a firm believer, what's supposed to be, it'll just be, regardless of whatever we think is what's in our book. What he wrote for us is gonna be. And so that started
mm,
my journey. Yeah, that started my journey. And so I was just doing real estate, and I was still had my other job. And just recently, actually, about a month ago, I decided to just try my hand at something else. And so I actually went and I took my broker's exam. And yeah, I became a licensed broker. Again,
wow.
had no plans to do anything else. And then doors just started opening. And people that know me, they know if a door opens, I'm like, what's going on up in there? And so I just started walking through them. And now I am the founder, broker, and owner of Boss Realty, where you buy or
Wow,
sell.
let's back up. Let's back up the train. Let's oh my goodness. You oh man. So you said in
Mhm.
21 before real estate you were doing teaching.
Yes, so I was in education. I started off just as a teacher. Then I got my master's and I became an instructional coach. Then I became a licensed school administrator. When I got that certification on my license, I stepped out and began coaching throughout Mississippi and Alabama with the company. The name of the company is Bailey Education Group. And I've been doing instructional coaching with them for 5 years. And I'm actually still with them. I can't get away from the kids. I mean, it's just something about them. And anyone that knows my family knows that every single person in my family has an education background. So leaving the kids, even with this new company, is still not an option. I still love education. I love my students. I love my teachers because I coach the teachers now. So I that's so yeah. So I have that plus my brokerage. Yes.
Wow, wow. So let me ask you this. Are you originally from Columbus? Were
Yes.
you born in Columbus?
Born and raised in Columbus, Mississippi. Yes. I ventured out
Oh,
one time. When I left high school, I had a pretty hefty ride to the University of Southern Mississippi. And I remember I got there and I'm the baby girl and I was so homesick. And I remember I had my entire dorm except for one suitcase at my parents' home by Thanksgiving because I told them I was so ready to go. And I ran from Hattiesburg to come home and went to Mississippi University for Women. So yes, I'm born and raised and staying in Columbus, Mississippi. Yes.
wow, wow, wow. So over the years since 21, you said you've been in real estate. What is the market? Has it been favorable? How do you see people? Because normally, they say a lot in terms of ladies and African American. How many people have you come across in the state of Mississippi that's actually in your field?
In the state, I mean, there's especially down in the southern part of the state, there are quite a few African American females that are in this, but up this way, they're very few. So yeah, it's been a challenge, just being transparent with me being an African American, that alone is a challenge, but being a female that's African American has been adding an extra layer because you know, no offense, Pastor Hyde, but a lot of times the men don't like to see, us come up in like in that way, like in a leadership
Mm,
capacity. I don't know if it's a threat
yeah.
or what, I'm not sure, but I always reiterate to anybody that I cross in the business, there's enough for all of us. And the fact is that we need to never lose sight of our purpose. And if you know the purpose of doing this, there's no room for jealousy or being, you
Mm,
know, not being kind. It's all about purpose and everything that we do, be it in the business, be it in life, purpose. And in order for you to fulfill that purpose, there is a foundation that you must stand on, and that alone is with and on and around. You need to have God in the forefront. And so that being said, if you don't have that, yes, things do go astray. So to answer your question about the market, I haven't had any issues really, because even when things do look like they're going astray or I get in situations that are stressful, I've learned to sit back because God has a way of, my mom calls them God winks. And he does them quite often
yeah.
to me. And it just tickles my soul. I just laugh. But anytime I start to have doubt or anything, he has a wink for me and never failed me yet. So, stepping out on all these new journeys and new chapters, it doesn't scare me. It doesn't bother me because I know who has Ashley. And the thing of it is, just like with us as humans, we have kids and things of that nature. And everyone always says that every parent has that favorite child. Well, I hate to tell you, world, I feel like I'm on a guy's face. Uh, so yeah, so yeah, yeah.
I'm number two.
There you go. Yes.
Wow, wow. So let me ask you this, because in real estate, there are, and I have some other friends in another state who are in real estate business. I had them on this show before, but I want to ask you, because it seems as if sometimes it is harder for people of African American descent to sometimes to say own their own home. Why is that?
I'm gonna have to say I disagree. You just have to find the right support. So I've been very, very blessed around here
Okay.
to have lenders and resources that um understand, as I refer to my clients, the common folk. And because I'm coming, right? I'm just Ashley. That's what I tell my time. I'm just the house lady. I'm just Ashley.
Yeah.
And because I have people that understand my people, I haven't had any glitches. I have had clients to come to me that are currently in bankruptcy, and they work at just a traditional job, not a lot of pay, and they are in the home. I'll go down to, the projects, and I remember last time I pulled up, this guy was like, "Oh, there go the house lady. Who's she gonna get today?" And I was like, "You want me there?" And because I need them to understand, don't let the system define you, And so I've been just tremendously blessed to have people placed in my life that have been part of those winks I was telling you about. That literally can we go in with the same purpose, and with
Mhm.
standing with him. And I to be honest with you, I don't I don't have any glitches in anybody, be it if they want a $50,000 house that they may have a past, they may have made a wrong decision and served some time, but guess what? They've been out for however long, and it's time for them to reset their life. We work with them. I mean, all types of people: black, purple, green, yellow, white, everybody. We and that's the thing about Boss Realty. Everyone, we it's our goal to make sure everyone feels welcome. And as my mom, which if anyone knows Roberta Taylor, knows that she's a mathematician, and one thing she's taught me: for every problem there is a solution. So
Mm.
that's how
Wow.
I want it.
Yeah, I think I should have rephrased that question, because the question,
Yeah.
it seems as if sometimes, and that's why you need to have a good realtor, and that's why I say I thank God for you, Ashley, because you are down to earth. When my wife and I first met you, I mean, and you took us out and you show us, what you can do, and we was like, wow, she's cool. I mean, you wasn't looking like one of those flamboyant real estate person. You were just down to earth, and as you can see her now, she's very cool. you know yeah.
I got your head.
And so that's what I like about, but the thing about it is this. There's so many people who do not have a good realtor, and so they are not exposed to the resources that are out there that can help them, and they think they rather pay so much for rent when they can own a house. So what do you say to that person?
Find someone that you feel comfortable with. And oftentimes when they call me, I'll say, "Hey, it's okay if I'm not the one that you choose. That's fine. But what I need you to understand is that I don't want you to give up." So they just need to. I strongly recommend that they talk to someone. Um, and if that doesn't work, that person always have a plan B, C, D, E, F, G. Like have multiple plans in place. But whatever you do, don't give up. So I have had clients to reach out to me and it just didn't work, for us and the time and in the situation. And I would refer them to another agent. You know, Sometimes, especially like women, young women about my age, they like to talk to me, or it may be someone that knows me personally and they're afraid that I may find out something about them that they don't want me to know financially or something, which we don't even get into the financial realm, but we run into that sometimes. People just like, I love Ashley as a person, but I really don't want her to know my situation. And like I explained to them, that's fine. That's why you find someone that you feel comfortable with. And if you don't feel comfortable with them, I wouldn't go through with it with them. You need to feel as if all of my clients, and I do mean all, I mean, it's to the point where I could probably add one on the call. They will tell you that when they leave me, I'm their sister for life. And I make
Mm,
sure that they understand that we're family. So when they start with me, you stuck with me, we glued to the hip. That's it. It's not
yeah.
just, oh, I found your house and deal over and I'll see you later. No, I mean, I have clients when I bake bread on the weekends, like, as you bake bread, I'm coming around to your house. And I mean, we're just, that's just how close. Or they'll drop happies off if they cook a plate. They're like, "Hey, I fried fish. You want to come over get a plate?" I mean, and I know I'm referring to food because that's how we show love. We show it through cooking.
Yeah, yeah.
I love my family how we are, but yeah, like, so they need to find someone, but you know, listening to others that have not purchased and they're discouraging you, that's not the way. I tell people all the time, and this is maybe just not the most appropriate analogy, but just so you can get it, a single person can't tell a married person with how to live life. And so I tell them, I'm like, look, if your friend doesn't have a house but they're telling you, no, the interest rates are blah blah blah, and I'm like, do they have a home? I think you need to talk to a realtor, not them. And so, just to put it in perspective. So, not listening to everything you see on the internet, because that's not the case. And let me go ahead and address the interest rate elephant. So everyone's like, oh my goodness, are the rates gonna drop? I will say this is not the worst the rates have ever been. I had a client to come in, and they were trying to refinance from their parents when because they had been deceased for some time, but they just swapped the deed over and kept the payments up. And when their parents got the home, their rate was at a 10.5%. Yep.
Mm,
And so yeah, so when I hear people like, oh my goodness, the rates are 6.5, and I'm like, yep, they are. Or they'll say, I'm gonna wait until blah blah blah. But I tell them all the time, that's when we come in as the realtor, and we can negotiate to the point with the seller that they can help buy your rate down to be more of a acceptable rate for you. So, again, as my mom, Luberta Taylor, what I always say is, for every problem there's a solution. So that being said, just talk to people, talk to the professional in the field, and allow them to coach you through it and see if that's a decision that you want to make. Just don't let one thing just stop the process. Don't let one person stop you. You just have to keep pushing, because the thing of it is, the only person holding us back from anything that we want is us. So,
mm.
it's a matter of, do that's when you get into that whole faith, right? We holler about, we trust God, we love God and all of that, but when you have one little test and then you get scared and pull back, that shows your true relationship and level of faith with God. So the thing of it is, are you going to step out on faith and trust him to guide you through it? Or are you going to pull back and really show that you really don't trust that big man above like you say you do? So, to
Wow.
that
Wow.
to that person that's having doubt or questioning it, first and foremost, they need to do, and let me rephrase what I said earlier. First, they need to pray about it and go ahead and see what signs he sent to you. And at that point, you'll know which way to go. Yep.
Mm. Wow, wonderful, good counsel. Let's kind of dive into this. So you say you started out in 2021.
Yes.
You started out into the real estate, and when you get into the real estate, in order for you to sell a house, you have to have what you call, and I'm learning this from you. You have to have what you call a broker.
Yes, you have to work under a principal broker.
Okay, so you have to work under somebody who. So being a realtor, you can say, okay, tomorrow morning I'm get up, I'm going to sell this house and just sell this house.
No, unless it's your own. But no, you can't sell anybody else's. No.
Okay, so you have to come up under somebody. Now we're in 2024, and I
Mhm.
understand now that you are your own boss. You
I
are your
am.
own boss.
I am.
Yes. So explain to the audience, how do you become your own boss?
So I did have to, take another course and took another test, of course. And so once I became a broker, I was still at my former broker's company. And that's when I assumed the role of associate broker. And after I stayed there for some time, I called Mississippi Real Estate Commission, just for some advice to see if this was the next step I wanted to take, because some opportunities were kind of presented to me. And then I just filled out the application. I actually drove the application down to Emmerich, which is down in South Mississippi. And in less than 24 hours, I had my own brokerage. Yes. So, of course, you had to have the LLC and things of that nature, but didn't take long at all. Yep.
Wow. So now you are in the city of Columbus, Mississippi, and now you have your own company. You don't have to come up under anyone. And so the name of your company is Boss.
Yes.
Is
Right
that
here.
correct?
Yes, there you go. Boss
Okay.
real.
All right.
That's what I can't tell,
Oh,
but
Boss. Yeah.
yes.
So
So the
let me ask you this, because let me ask you this, because
hmm,
sometimes people hear the word boss, and it seems a little bit turned off, or a little bit like, you the in other words, you the boss. But as I learned from you, the boss stand for something. So talk to us about this boss.
so just as a backstory, I heard that I was quite bossy, little baby. So boss has been my nickname since I was a little girl. And so I don't know if you ever been
Okay.
around my mom and I, Pastor Hyde, but my mom, that's what she calls me, boss. But I did not want this company to be named in that way, because I'm not in control of anything. That I'm just
Mhm.
Ashley. That's all I am. Just, there's a greater power that's in charge. So I didn't want this company to be named after it. But my husband and my sister Nicole, my husband Shantae and my sister Nicole, they both said, boss is your name. Why don't you think about that? And I was like, you know what? We need an acronym. And so, so that's when we got into the buy or sell successfully. And so, just based off my past experiences, and I talked to a few clients, they agreed that would fit the way that I do business. They said that they have bought and sold with me successfully. So that's how the whole acronym came about. Originally from my nickname that my mom gave me when I was a little one, and my sister and my husband suggested that we spiral from that and develop the acronym, and that's where the buy or sell successfully came from. So I'm not the boss of real estate now. I'm just Ashley. I'm just, hey. But if anyone decides to buy or sell, it will be done successfully with Boss Realty. Yes. And
Wow,
so that's
wow,
where am I? The B with the house in it. I don't know if you can see it. So
yeah.
yeah.
Oh, wonderful! You know what came to my mind as you using that. The Lord asked Moses, "What's in your hand?" and use what's in your hand, and you are using something that you were already called. So God is good, and
Oh,
I
yeah.
know that you are going to be so. So let me ask you this: if someone wants to get, now that you have your own company, you're not working for someone else, so do you have individuals who are working alongside with you in this company?
Actually, I have a young female that started with me today, to be exact. There are a few more that I've been talking to, but I've been kind of slow at transitioning the agents in because I told them I'm just getting in the pool trying to see if the water warm enough for us to get in, so
Yeah,
I'm just
yeah.
trying to make sure everything's in line and okay. But I did transition one agent into the brokerage at effective today. Yes.
Okay, okay, wonderful, wonderful. And let me ask you this, again, for those of you who are listening, this is the testimony broadcast with the Bible Patrolman. Today, we are talking to Ashley McGregory, who have started our own real estate company, Boss. We stand for buy or sell successfully. Oh, and I'm so excited for her. I had a chance to meet Ashley and was able to talk to her. And she, the people always say, she has her head screwed on properly. And so she knows exactly how to help you to buy or sell a house successfully. And so, Ashley, let me ask you this: if someone is listening out there and they're thinking about buying a property or selling a property, how do they get in contact with you?
So I have a very unique phone number for our office. Okay, so it's 662-902 BOSS. That is the phone number for our company. So just in numerical terms, it's 662-902-2677. But if you can't remember 2677, remember those last four digits, they spell out the word boss.
Oh, okay. So it's 662
902 boss.
902 boss.
Yes.
Oh, now, okay. 662-902 boss.
Yeah.
Right, all right. So there you have it, listening audience. If you want to get in touch with Miss Ashley McGregory, the Boss Company, she will make sure that you either buy or sell successfully. And I know that you will not regret it. Miss Ashley, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for joining us today. And I know that you are going to do well, because what you have put God first, and that's your foundation, and we know that you are going to be very, very successful in your business. And as I said, I will be sending people your way. Again, the number is 662-902 boss. Just give Ashley a call if you are in the Columbus area, you want someone to help you with a house or with a building, whatever you need, or you need some land, make sure that you talk to Ashley and she will take care of you. Ashley, if you have that person who is very doubtful right now, they don't know, they saying that their credit is not up to par, what can you work with, or what have you worked with before, if somebody feel that their credit is not up to par?
Well, I want to add something to what you said before, and I want to answer that. Just know that my team and I can serve anyone in the state of Mississippi. So not just the
Okay.
Columbus area, anything in the state. And I do have a new well, not I, my team and I are bringing in a new component to Boss Realty. We have property management, so we will have some apartments and rental homes.
Wow.
So that's our next level that we're about to introduce in the next week, so that everyone will see Boss Realty in another light as well. So yeah, we have a lot going on here. But so to answer your question about someone that is concerned about their credit, I will tell you that Ashley is not perfect. So a lot of the things that my clients are going through, been there, done it. So that's why I try to talk to them, because as I always say, sometimes life just get to life, and you know, it is what it is. We have to do to make it. So to that person, again, for every problem there is a solution. We have people in place that we can contact you with that can help coach you through the steps. The lenders that I deal with, what they do, they'll do a soft pull on your credit, even if it's low. We've had clients that come to us with like a 400, and the lender will give them a wayfinder. And what happens with the wayfinder is that they tell them everything that's wrong and everything that they need to do to get to a certain point, and they'll give them a time frame. And so when they give you that detailed plan, we check in, the lender and myself and my agents, we check in periodically just to make sure that you're following that plan. And if you're following that plan at close to the end of the mark, when we say that you should be able to buy if you follow that plan, we repull at that point to make sure it's on track. And then at that point, we can start looking at homes, and then we can go into contract. So in the past 6 months, I've had about 6 that have come back around off of those plans, and they're in their some are in the starter homes, about 4 in the starter homes, and the other 2 in their forever homes.
Wow, wonderful. Because sometimes people are discouraged because they says they didn't have a good track record, and so their credit score is not the best. So they shy away from getting a home. But I know that there are programs out there, and that's why I go back to say sometimes we're privy to those programs that are out there that can that. So if someone want to come to better their score, they just come to you, and you will direct them to where the programs are. We
Correct.
lost
And
Ashley. All right, sorry about it. So did you get my question?
yeah, you were asking if they come, we can direct them to the program. Is that what you say? One more time. You were going in and out. Sorry.
Ashley,
Can
I
can you
think
hear me now?
okay. So what I'm saying about the various programs that are out there to help individual. So someone will contact you, and then you will direct them to those programs that can help them.
Yes. So where I come in, I'm just the house lady. So I'm more the one that does the contracts and finding the properties that they desire. So when they come to me and they tell me their situation, based on what they're telling me, that's when we decide which way they need to go. So yes, I will put them in contact with the person for the next step in their journey. And at that point, we can, balance and, tell them which way to go. So, like for instance, if they tell me their score is below a 580, I would never send them to a bank. I would send them to a mortgage broker who could shop around and give them a wayfinder plan. If they tell me that their score is below a 620 or 640, I may then send them to a bank and see if there's maybe a workaround or something like that. So it just kind of depends on their situation. Make sure they don't have any lates on their credit. Make sure they don't have major tax write-offs. Making sure they're not haven't made any large purchases based on their current income. It just all depends on their situation, and that lets me know if they need to go to more of a mortgage broker who can shop around for options, or if they need to go to a bank that has different programs that may work for them, so they won't have to have down payments and things of that nature. So yes, they'll start with me or
Yeah.
whatever realtor, and they will be able to tell them which way to go from there.
Okay. Wow. So somebody out there is listening, and they don't know if their credit score is good or it is bad. So can you give us a range of what you think if somebody walk in your office and you can help them right away because they have a good score?
So if they have a
What you consider
580,
to be a good score for somebody?
yeah, a 580 or higher, we can get you in the house. But that's
Woo.
that's with making sure that we do not have any late payments in the last 12 months. and that's on like cars, like installment loans. So like cars and credit cards and things of that nature. If you have any late payments, and late payments are 30 days or more, then that's when we have an issue. We have to wait for it to cycle for that 12 months. But if they have at least a 580 or more, we can get them in a house. And people always ask, well, if I have a 640, will my rate be lower? Yes, that is true. However, a client at a 580, if I can get the seller to pay some of the prepaids, I can buy the rate down just as low as someone with the 720. So it just kind of depends. That's why it's important to have a realtor, because I mean, that's when we come in for negotiations and getting things in a very nice position so that you can live comfortably in the house that you choose. But yeah, just a 580. And most people, and I want to explain this too, what you guys see on Credit Karma is not what the lenders see. Just as a heads up, you have different scores. You have your general credit score, you have a mortgage score, you even have an automobile score. Like there's so many different credit scores. So your mortgage score is different than what you see on Credit Karma. It's not going to be too far off, but you know, we often hear, but my Credit Karma said I have a 640 and you're saying I have a 585, because those are different scores. So every cluster of scores go with different types or different streams. So just be mindful of that. When the lender pulls it and you see something different on Credit Karma, it's because they're pulling your mortgage score, not your general score.
Okay, okay. So Credit Karma is pulling your general scores?
Yes, it's just a general. There are different apps that you can see your mortgage score. For instance, like My FICO, that's MYFICO. If you download that app, I think it's like 30 something dollars a month. They actually have your mortgage score, automobile score, credit card score, and all those scores on that application. And that's more of in line of what the lender sees. Even when you go to get a car, there's an automobile score.
Okay, okay. What about, have you heard about, because I've heard people, what about CreditWise?
Yes, that they should have it as well. I just knew My FICO because that's one that I personally use for my credit, you know, my husband and I with our credit. But yeah, CreditWise, it just always just know that what you see, you may not see everything that the lender sees. Oh, and speaking of, also please practice honesty because the lender will see it all. So if you're applying and you think, oh, they're not gonna see that, I'm not gonna tell them about that. When you buy a house, trust me, they know everything that you can imagine about you. So it's best to be transparent and honest up front so that we won't get later down the line under contract and then boom, it's like, hey, did you co-sign for something last month? And they can see it. Also, don't quit your job, because what they do right before closing, the day before, as a matter of fact, they're going to call your company and do a verification of employment. So I'm very fortunate. I mean, knock on wood somewhere. I've been very fortunate to not have that happen, but I've seen it happen where we get right to closing and they do the verification called the VOE, and that person quits and the entire deal fell apart. So stay on your job. Do not get any new credit and be honest. So yeah.
Be honest. Wow, wow. Man, thank you for those of you who've been listening, or hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, because we are talking to Miss Ashley McGregor. She is a realtor, and now she is her own boss. She's her own boss, but not boss in terms of bossy. Boss stands for buy or sell successfully. She has her own company. And so you want to check out Miss Ashley. If you're in the state of Mississippi, she can help you. She can help you. How do you reach her? 662-902 BOSS. That's Miss Ashley McGregor, and you will be able to get in contact with her. I've been talking to her now for some time, and she is walking us through a process. And so, Miss Ashley, again, I want to thank you for helping the brother out. Thank you. Because I know that you are true to what you do, and you are serious. And not that you are only down to earth, but you are very serious, and you take your job very seriously. And so I want to recommend that if anyone is looking for a house or looking for property, that they will get in contact with you, and you will make sure that you take care of them. Let me ask you this. Uh, uh, can someone, if someone is looking, what do you say about someone co-signing for somebody else?
Yeesh. Just depends on that situation. But I will tell you this. So I ran into it wasn't a really a situation, but it was a question. So the son is currently not married, but mom needed a co-signer. And the question was, will he ever be able to buy his own home? And the lender explained it to us this way, just like with the car. Just so I give you a backstory of the car. So a
Yeah.
car, if you co-sign for a car and you do not make you cannot make a payment for that person. You co-sign, but you cannot make a payment for that person. After 12 months, that debt will not count towards you as long as you have not made a payment. That's the same with the house. So if you co-sign on the house and you can never make a payment on that house and you want to buy your own in the next year or two, as long as you never made a payment, they were never late, that debt will not count against you. But if you made one payment, that debt is assigned to you at that point. So co-signing is okay,
So
but you're
it,
gonna have to go ahead.
so let me ask. So you're saying the person who co-signed, not the person who actually owned the vehicle or owned the car.
The
You know,
co-signer.
the co-signer, if they have never made a payment,
Mhm.
they're good on their part.
Correct. So when you go to buy it, even though it's on their credit, they will look at the pay history. So what they'll ask is for the bank statements or the pay history showing that that person paid. And if you can show it for 12 months that you had no ties to it, you didn't touch it at all, never, ever, ever,
Okay.
then that debt will not count against you. It's the same for a car. So like I have now a client that co-signed on a car. If we wait until next May, well, May coming up, um, and she's never made a payment on that car, and all we have to do is show each payment that her son made, then that debt will be
Yeah.
eliminated from her, and she can move forward with buying her house.
By now, okay, okay. So she wouldn't they would not count on her that like she owned another house over here.
Correct,
She
but
would
it
be
has to
free
be
from the if
12,
she
correct.
12 months. Okay.
It will
Okay.
still be on
So
her credit. It will still be on her credit, but we will have to prove that she never made a payment.
yeah. So what happened after the 12 months? If the son says I can't pay this no more,
Oh,
who accumulate the debt?
it's still on them because when you co-sign, you're taking that risk, you're taking that chance. So it's still on
Yeah,
them.
okay.
We can still purchase now. If they miss a
Okay.
payment or something like that, that will still affect your credit and be detrimental. So once you co-sign, it needs to be understood that hey, I need you to keep these payments up because one day I'm gonna want to buy, and I have seen that happen
Okay.
too, where they missed the payment and it made it reset for everybody that's involved in the transaction. Yep.
Okay, okay, okay. See, that's good to know, folks. You are getting it straight from the boss. She is making sure that you understand exactly what, because you can own your own house, your own. So, what's I always hear people say it's a good time to buy or sell. Can you explain that to us?
I get asked that often, and I ask people. My question is, do you need a house? Because either you need a house or you don't. I don't think that there's ever a good time to buy, and I don't ever think there's gonna be a good time to sell. Either you need to sell or you need to buy. That's just that, and that's just always been my philosophy on it. Everyone's gonna always need a roof over their head. I guess my question is, are you gonna pay for somebody else roof, someone else's roof, or you gonna pay for your own? So that's just kind of where I stand on it. You know, is there's never a good time or a bad time. The time is when is your time.
Okay, okay. Wonderful. That is good to know, because sometimes people says, okay, I'm going to hold on to this money, and I'm going to wait because it's not a good time to buy now. Let me ask you another question. Is it good to buy from where you see sell by owner, or you have a realtor sign out in the yard? Which is best?
So you can do both. I will tell you. So what we do, we call them one-time showings, where we do sell unlisted properties. So a lot of times I hear people say, "What? I didn't even see that house. Actually, where'd you find it? How'd they get that house?" And so sometimes my clients, they know that not to call for sale by owners, to just take a picture of the sign and send it to me. Or if I ride by and I think it's something, I remember one that was up the street from me. I'll never forget. The guy was putting in the yard. I pulled in the driveway and I was like, I want to know my neighbor. Let me sell it, you know. And I had a client I called over, and we went under contract that same day. So, you know, the thing of it is, with for sale by owners, they're going to protect themselves. The owner is, and
Mhm.
as the buyer, I suggest that you have someone to protect you. And so that's where we come in. That's when you call the house lady, and I'm like, hey, okay, let me help you out. You know, there's some things, contract, like paper wise and step wise, that with for sale by owner may get overlooked. And so, like, for
Mhm.
instance, like making sure you have a septic inspection, the termite inspection that needs to be done, and that usually is on the seller. Understanding that, you know, getting the warranty is good on the property, and with the warranty that'll cover like appliances and things of that nature. You know, just little things. Checking in with the title, talking, having close contact with the attorney. Having like final walkthroughs, checking things, getting inspection done, having conversations about that. Those are things that sometimes with for sale by owner kind of gets swept under the rug, and then later
Mm.
when things happen, you can't just kind of say,
Yeah.
hey, Ashley, did that septic tank get pumped, you know? And at that point I can say, hey, yeah, here's a receipt, this is what happened. There weren't any roots in the field line, you know. I can have that conversation. But when you do for sale by owner, is when it's done, it's done. And so that's why, you know, my clients, like I said, we all have understanding that if they run into a for sale by owner, they take a picture, send it to me. I call them and I represent my client, and the seller is at that point the customer. But like I said, we call those exclusive selling unlisted properties, that's what we call it, which is
Okay.
considered to
Okay.
be a
Okay.
one-time showing. So sometimes you all will see things pop on the system, and it'll be cheaper looking, and then it's like, well, you know, people kind of say, well, I want to see this, and then I send them a screenshot, and it'll have an all cap one-time showing for comp purposes. And all we do is, like I said, that's only, those are for like those for sale by owner sales. And I do them quite often. Right
Okay.
now I have 3 under contract right now with for sale by owners.
Mm.
Yes.
Okay. Wonderful. Wonderful. Thank you for this, for these wonderful tips that you. Let me ask you this. We are running out of time. Wow, time moved so fast. Let me ask you this. Who normally pays for the inspection? Say if you want to get an inspection before you buy, who normally pay for the inspection?
That is for the buyer. So that's an expense. So a couple of things you'll need first would be the earnest money, which this holds the property and kind of holds you accountable as the buyer and the seller. If the buyer tries to back out without any contingency, like a finance contingency or home inspection contingency, they would forfeit that earnest money if they just backed out because they just felt like they didn't want to buy today. But that's the first thing. And then you have the inspection that's on the buyer. But I tell people all the time, I say I would rather lose $375 for an inspection before I lose $250,000 not knowing what's what. And so that's on the buyer. The appraisal is also on the buyer as well. So those are just some
Mm.
upfront expenses that come with purchasing, and there are ways that we can work it in. I know some lenders let the inspection roll into the loan. The the appraisal, I'm sorry, they let the
Yeah.
appraisal go to the loan. The inspection is just something that I just recommend that everyone gets. And if you
Mm.
can't pay it out up front, you just tell them, hey, give me about 5 days. And what we can do on the contract, we can indicate that the inspection will be within an allotted time, and the seller can work with us on that. So there, again, like I mentioned before, transparency. Just be honest about everything. Don't try to hide anything. If money is tight, tell us so we can know how we need to maneuver the timeline, and in regards to closing in an efficient
Wow. Wow. Oh man, it's so we're gonna have to bring you back, because I mean the things are just coming to my head, because as I said, I've been through this and I did not have a realtor, and I've learned so much, from not having a realtor, and I recommend to anyone that is trying to buy a house or property to make sure that I passed the other day and I saw a billboard sign. A lady, she was pulling her hair out because she didn't have a realtor. So I tell anyone, if you are getting into buying or selling, make sure that you have a realtor. It will work out in the long run. As Miss Ashley, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for stopping by here today
Thank
on
you.
the Bible Patrol channel testimony broadcast. You have been testifying about what God, you have put God first, and He has allowed you. First, you took the test 2 times, and you failed the test, and then you went back the third time, and the next thing you know, when after you click submit, you see the word pass on the screen. And
Oh
so
yeah.
we know that there's nobody but God, and we know we are going to continue to pray for you that you will be successful in the state of Mississippi with your own company. Oh, praise God, with your own company. Again, if you're in the state of Mississippi and you're looking for a realtor, you can get in touch with Ashley McGregor at 662-902-BOSS. Oh, praise be to God. Praise be to God. We thank God for you. And Miss Ashley, again, we want to thank you for coming on this broadcast, and we look forward to doing business with you in the future. May God bless you.
Thank you.